Agent Elvis is an adult animated action comedy series created by Priscilla, Presley, and John Eddy. The series embellishes the real-life events of Elvis's career with a completely invented narrative that the man was actually a spy in disguise. On this podcast, we like to review a different series every show. It's Thursday, March 23rd, and you're listening to today's episode. Now, you watched all 10 episodes of the series, and so I'm sure you had a lot of thoughts, but I thought to break the ice, we would start with a little game, this one about conspiracy theories. So, Elvis and conspiracy theories, those go hand in hand, all right?
Okay.
But one of these is fake, and I have 3 different scenarios for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Since Elvis's death in 1977, there have been many alleged sightings of the man, the first being at Memphis International Airport, where someone who looked like him was using the same pseudonym that Elvis would use when checking into hotels. He's also been seen at Legoland and appeared in the background scene of Home Alone as a bearded man wearing a turtleneck in a sports jacket.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
The next one is that he was actually a triplet. Now, it is true, like completely factual, that he was a twin and his brother was stillborn, I believe. But some believe that he is actually a triplet, that that his brother would come out and stand in for him on stage sometimes.
All right. Yeah.
Rami Malek style.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And the third scenario is that Elvis was actually a time-traveling alien. Some people believe this. The original 20th century had no king of rock and roll, and that during the unrecorded concerts, this is how they used to prove it, that he would actually hit notes that no one had ever heard before.
Yeah. Okay.
Or since.
Right.
All right, so out of those 3, the twin one, the death one, and the time-traveling alien one, which one do you think is a fake conspiracy theory that I just made up?
Which one is a fake one?
Yes. 2
of
of them are true.
I'm going to go with what was the last one you said?
A time-traveling alien.
Okay, the third one.
Okay, well, you're right. I was hoping that going big would get you to, that's not a conspiracy theory.
The triplet one, I feel like I had heard before. Like, I feel like that's been that's a common known conspiracy theory.
It is not. I had never heard that before.
The triplet one?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then also the sighting one. It feels like whenever anyone dies, there's
Sure.
always those conspiracy theories where it's like, oh
but
no, they actually were.
But that people thought that he was at Legoland. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and also the airport, and that he would use his actual pseudonym that he used to use. That doesn't make any sense.
Or that if he was undercover or trying to disappear, that he would just show up in Home Alone.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that's the conspiracy game. Let's jump into the show. It's called Agent Elvis, and it stars Matthew McConaughey. It got 10 episodes, the first of which is titled Full Tilt, the last of which is Godspeed Drunk Monkey. Now, it's funny that they call it a monkey because it's actually a chimp, right?
Yeah, Scatter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say to anyone who likes Hit Monkey, you're probably going to like Scatter the most because it basically is just Hit Monkey, just a more violent version of it.
Yeah, and the main character is just a sarcastic guy, so in a way, it's just Hit Monkey. Is this show too much like Hit Monkey?
I wouldn't say so, no, because Scatter, he where Hit Monkey, it's just the complete show is about him. Scatter definitely is more in the side storylines that take place.
But is that the only difference? Does Scatter speak? Does he know English?
No, Scatter does not.
Because Tom Kenny plays him, and so I was thinking that maybe he had a line here or there.
Well, the thing that I found funny was that Tom Kenny and Jason Mantzoukas, if you combine both of their filmographies, it feels like you have every single cartoon TV series ever made.
Well, maybe for the last 10 years.
Both of their voice acting credentials are insane. Launching in my pros, the animation for this show is fantastic. Not just because of the color, but also it's a cool mix of the 1970s tone, also with modern day.
Yeah, it starts in 1968 and then it goes to 1973, and that reminded me a lot of Endeavour because that went through the end of the 60s into the 70s, right? And so you're watching 2 shows almost back to back that have the same timeline but completely different. One is a cartoon animated spy show. Now, you're saying you're in your pros at this point, right? Okay, and you just mentioned the animation style. Okay, so the Sony Pictures Animation, the one who's done this is the first time that they've done a adult animated TV show. So, but they're also the people who made the Into the Spider-Verse movie.
Okay, interesting.
And then they got Robert Valley to do the animation and character designs. He's known for not only the Love, Death, and Robots, Ice, and Zima Blue episodes, but also for directing the pilot of Invincible and being the main artist behind the Gorillaz band, like cartooning. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that definitely fits because it's just, yeah, like you were saying, I can definitely see like the similar type of designs. Also, I know that this is produced by Titmouse, which I think also did the Venture Bros, and a lot of different Adult Swim animation shows.
There's been a lot of comparisons to other like types of animated shows: Archer, Venture Bros, Adult Swim, like you said, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, definitely Quentin Tarantino. I mean, when this show gets violent, it doesn't decide to like shy away from it. It's very pleasing to watch as a viewer, just seeing like, because it's incredibly bloody.
Is that your second pro?
Yeah, no, that was actually really fun to see. It's almost like Sharknado. Obviously it's better than Sharknado, but whenever like action hits the screen, where you just kind of like watching it because of just how gruesome it gets for like really no reason.
Do you recall which episode out of the 10 was the most violent, gruesome? Which one like really used it up?
I would say probably actually the first one. And I say the first one, Full Tilt, because they have Charles Manson in this first episode and his followers, and they
you recognize who voiced him?
No, I didn't.
Fred Armisen.
I'm not surprised because like it also has a huge cast as well. Not only Matthew McConaughey, but you have Don Cheadle and then Caitlin Olsen and everyone else. Jason Mantzoukas, as I said earlier. But yeah, Charles Manson, he ends up taking Bobby, who is kind of Elvis's second. He's a pilot. I think he's voiced by Johnny Knoxville, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
And by the end of the episode, it just gets to the point where Charles Manson and his followers, who kind of turn into zombies, just end up like attacking the whole entire group, including CC Rider. That's who Caitlin Olsen voices.
Yes.
And the monkey, and just it gets incredibly bloody from there.
So Elvis's voice, though, did you like his?
The thing about this show is that because it's not only Charles Manson that they bring into play, they also have Paul McCartney and just a lot of other notable figures. None of those characters sound like they're supposed to. I think that's the whole entire point of why it's so funny. Matthew McConaughey...
So it makes it better.
Yes. Matthew McConaughey doesn't try at all to sound like Elvis. It just sounds like him.
Despite doing like a billion things in his career, he doesn't have a lot of voice acting credits. He's been in Sing, and then also Kubo and the Two Strings. But that's it.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't seem like he does a lot of TV shows except for maybe like True Detective, but this is definitely a different role for him because he doesn't do a lot of comedy, adult animation shows, as you were just saying.
But he's cracking a lot of jokes in here?
Yeah, the thing is that this show is jam-packed with not only one-liners, but you have slapstick, dark humor, really just like juvenile humor, anything that you can think of, this show kind of has.
It sounds like you enjoyed it so far, but I do know that we're in your pros.
We're in my pros.
So violence and animation and comedy, what else?
I would also say that like it's guaranteed, at least if you know what you're getting into, to have at least 4 or 5 jokes every single episode that land. Almost like I like to use the show New Girl in that example, where it's like, if you watch a show, there's gonna be something that makes you laugh.
So you're saying there's a lot of jokes that don't land too, or that?
Yeah, but again, there's
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's just like they throw as many at the chalkboard and some of them stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And so I would also say that Gabriel, I think he's voiced by Kieran Culkin. He's only in like a small part in episode 6 and also the finale.
Mm-hmm.
He worked though, I thought, well as a overall villain for the TV series.
Was he the arch nemesis of Matthew Elvis's?
Yeah, almost. The thing is that like they don't really meet until the finale, so it's not like you get a ton of confrontations between the two of them.
Cool.
But yeah, he's supposed to be the main villain.
It reminds me of Koala Man, where he doesn't like it's in the background bad guy for a lot of the episodes, but then they finally have their meet up in the last episode when it comes to. But anyways, tell me like overall what the show, like the arc of it is.
Yeah, so you have Elvis. He's kind of a secret agent spy. He already knows how to fight, and he starts working.
Well, he knows karate. Right?
Yeah, well, he knows a ton of different things. He also knows how to use a gun and like all this.
Do we see him get recruited in the first episode though?
Yeah.
Like an alias scenario where he's in college, and then they're like, "Hey, Elvis."
Right. He gets recruited by this place called the TCB, and it's run by this person called the Commander. Again, that's voiced by Don Cheadle, and he gets paired for a lot of missions with CC Rider, this person who's just kind of supposed to be like a badass chick.
Is
and
she
also
like Yvonne Strahovski or whatever her name is in Chuck? Is she Sarah from Chuck?
Well, no, she's way more sarcastic. Like, she definitely is cracking a lot of the one-liners that I was talking about earlier.
Are her and Elvis supposed to be together? Because Priscilla Presley is in this, so that wouldn't make it
no.
sense.
Yeah, okay. They're just supposed to be partners.
They're colleagues.
Yeah,
yes.
You also have Scatter, again, the crazy monkey who decides to join on some of the missions.
And she's there from the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, he's there before Elvis gets recruited from the TCB.
I mean, he's based off a real chimp. So.
I was going to say, yeah, it feels like Elvis Presley had a monkey or something because he was just in this show, and it was almost like you were supposed to know who he was before you even saw him.
Most of the things you saw followed like real timeline of Elvis. Just they added the craziness of him actually being a spy and them being on purpose. But yeah.
Yeah, so like because there's things that I'm sure I was missing. In the third episode, he fakes being Neil Armstrong and like does the moon landing, and I was thinking to myself, there has to be some type of story there that they're taking from actual real life.
When does he go to the White House and just like demand a meeting with the president?
That's episode 5 when he tries to speak to Richard Nixon.
Yeah, so like that sort of happened in real life. He just showed up at the White House doorstep one day wanting to give Nixon a gun, and he got let in.
Okay, so that was something that happened. He gets this gun, and then the Secret Service is like, well, you can't go in there with that gun and meet the president. And then he's like, but this is supposed to be a gift. And then the Secret Service agent like takes it and tries to find a box for it.
They even gave him like a completely fake federal government ID badge.
That happens in the episode too.
But it's not fake though. In the episode, I was saying.
No, it was supposed to be real.
Yeah, Elvis thought it was real or treated it as if it was real, and he would like stick it out there whenever he would like go internationally or something, trying to like prove that he could take drugs with him.
I assume the thing about episode 5 is that, especially before we got to the last episodes and after the first episode, was one of my favorites. Not only because you have again Richard Nixon, who doesn't sound like him at all, but it was funny seeing the animation for him. But also as Elvis continually is talking to Richard Nixon, the main reason they're there is because the TCB had a file that ended up in the White House, and if the president figures out about the TCB, then their whole entire operation is done. Like,
so the president doesn't know about a secret like CIA type group within his own country.
Yeah, well, the TCB I would say is a little more
like they're a little more
villainous because like in the first episode, at the very ending, it's revealed that because the first scene is Elvis, he beats up this limousine driver that tries to kill him. Yeah. It turns out that the commander, and C.C. Ryder also knew this as well, set out the hit for Elvis.
Sounds like The Gray Man, right? That Netflix show? Or not show, but movie that came out.
Yeah. I mean, the show gets like a little bit unneedingly complex, if that makes any sense. But yeah, in the fifth episode, unnecessary. But in the 5th episode, CC is tasked, along with Scatter, of trying to get the file before the president reads it. And Elvis, as well as Bobby, who is a pilot, that's a big thing in this show, just need to distract Nixon. And the thing that I found funny is that Nixon, he turns into this war-loving, racist, anti-Semitic as like they are speaking like throughout the episode. So Elvis, even though he's so pro-America, starts to really hate Nixon. And I thought that interaction just in and of itself was pretty good. Also, I would say that episodes 8 through 10 are when the show actually tries to have somewhat of a story arc.
So between the groups of episodes, the beginning introduction, the middle tier, and then the ending, what group did you like the most?
I would say probably the ending.
So it did come together in the end.
Yeah, because again, it has. So the main, I would say, threat this season is there was this sonic reactor or something that the villains were using that it would cause this like gray mist, and whenever that mist happened, it would always mind control people.
Yeah.
In
like
several
the
different areas.
Episode's name is Total Mindfuck.
Yeah, that's especially when it's the most prominent because it's like a music festival and a ton of people when like it's guarded by the Hells Angels, and when this band starts to play, the mist just continually takes them over, and then again the team has to kind of just
wipe out the zombie
demolish them. Yeah, Scatter, I would say definitely for the first half of the season was my favorite character because the way he just killed people, he would like munch on their face. There was no getting past this monkey.
And he also does drugs, right?
Yeah, he's a cocaine addict.
Yeah, in real life he was like an alcoholic, and he would just hang out at the parties and
wait,
like
are you
flirted with the girls and
stuff.
stuff.
Oh wait, okay.
No, I'm serious. And then they had to like kick him off because like he was breaking into other places that he wasn't supposed to.
Hold on, you're saying that?
I mean, he was Elvis.
Monkey?
Yes. So like Elvis had the chimp, and then he would like take him to parties and stuff, and then the chimp would get too rowdy, and then he had to send him home.
No, that makes a lot more sense because in episode 2, Elvis he's having to go on a mission with the group, and he basically says to Scatter, who apparently understands English, just stay in the room.
Monkeys are smart, or chimps are smart. Yeah.
Stay in the room and don't do anything. And then one of the side plots in the second episode is that Scatter is in the casino, and he's like doing a ton of drugs. He's drinking, and he's also like losing losing a ton of money as well.
Yeah.
You also have a character that we haven't mentioned yet. Their name is Birdie. They're kind of like Elvis's mother figure, I would say.
What'd you think of Birdie?
I thought that she was interesting at first as a character, but her storyline kind of gets treated as something really in the background later on in the show. It's almost like they didn't know what to do with her.
Yeah, she's voiced by Niecy Nash-Betts, who's been in a million little things. Literally.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, yeah.
No, but she has been in a lot, and people say that she did a really good job with this. So.
Yeah, Howard Hughes, that's who Jason Mantzoukas plays, basically works for the commander and does whatever he needs him to, makes suits, makes weapons.
Oh, so like a John Wick type thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of John Wick, they actually have some people like in charge of the score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You didn't finish your pros, but I assume that the score made it on there.
Oh, yeah. No, the score definitely, because not only the score, but also you get Elvis's songs, but as well as like David Bowie and The Doors at different points
counts
like
as
that.
The score, yeah.
Yeah.
They had Tyler Bates and Tim Williams do that. Their compilation of work includes, but is not only, Pearl, Get Out, Brightburn, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Volume 2, Deadpool 2, Dawn of the Dead 300, Sucker Punch, Halloween 1 and 2, and the John Wick franchise.
I'm not
so there's
surprised.
The John Wick
One
connection.
of my favorite parts of the show was the first episode where you get this like really cool score in the background. They don't do this intro for any other episodes except the first. But you have like Elvis, he's driving around this fancy car and he's just shooting this golden gun like a million times. It sounds kind of cheesy
like
from the way I'm describing it, but it did remind me of Cowboy Bebop, and it was like, yeah, a really good way to start off the show. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed that one as well. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't fall into the trap that a lot of other animated shows do, and this is something I was really happy about.
Like Velma?
Yeah, especially like Velma, which I actually have a comparison to that later on. But the thing is that it doesn't have like these like insanely dramatic moments where sometimes like crazy TV shows like this will have a couple crazy episodes at the very beginning, but then at the end of the season try to have like a lot of emotional moments and like try to really make you feel for the characters. This show knows exactly what it is. It's Elvis. He's a secret agent and he's beating up bad guys.
So is it like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? Like we're just gonna give him a crazy trait and then just keep it at that? We're not gonna try to gloss over it or make it into something more.
That's not a bad comparison. I mean, I think Elvis has a little bit more humanity to him than, say, a different character like Scatter or the Commander, for that matter. Also, there's like some backflashes that are really, really quick throughout the episodes where apparently something happened to Elvis, but he forgot. That's revealed later on to be the fact that like he was drafted into the army. I know that was something that actually happened.
He went to the army even after he was famous, yeah.
But yeah, in episode 9, it's revealed that apparently the Commander drafted Elvis into the army so that they could take his DNA, so that they could use the power and like popularity that he had.
He's gonna find out he's a clone. This is gonna be Clone High.
Not only that, that's something that's revealed at the end of the finale.
Oh, that is actually
clone? Like so the finale kind of goes crazy. You have the sonic beam. That's when it's really it's in outer space, and they're going to have to stop it, as well as stop it in a volcano. And yeah, by the end of the episode, not only do Elvis but CC Rider and Bobby all make it into space because Scatter was tasked with destroying the beam, but
so there are no like tragic deaths that happen.
Well, yeah, I mean not really, because what happens is that like everyone is still on the ship, but Elvis decides to use himself as a heat shield because that's the only way that they can make it back. And as he's being like turned into flames, you see the Commander. It's actually the last shot in the entire TV series. He's on the phone with Howard Hughes, and he's like, "Look, we're gonna need another clone of Elvis."
Oh.
And that's the end of the series.
Oh,
but
okay.
But yeah, no, the reason why I liked episode 8 particularly was because this is an episode where Elvis does shrooms and a ton of crazy things happen because they had to go and get this
soup. Yes.
Yeah, they had to go and get this person from the last episode named Leary. Leary, I think, is even the person that gave them shrooms because Leary is like a TCB agent. He has
Timothy Leary, played by Chris Elliott.
Yeah, he has like a lot of information. Sure. But the thing about this episode was Elvis, this is one of the very few episodes he's actually just home with his wife, Priscilla. We don't see that much of in the actual series.
I mean, does she sound like a young girl since she's like 70-something in real life?
Yeah. Huh. And she takes shrooms as well. In fact, that's when she sees Paul McCartney kind of come out of the screen. That was a different side storyline. But yeah, like Elvis, suddenly CC Rider, and not only that, but Bobby Ray and Leary all come in, and they're like, there are agents from, I think, Argentina is where they were in episode 7, that were like attacking killing them, and
wow.
so it's just this huge series. Leary even dies. He gets like his head shot in, and like they even kidnap Priscilla, and Elvis is running after them. And the whole entire episode, I was like, this is pretty funny. And the funniest part was the end of the episode. It was all in Elvis's head. Leary isn't
that makes more sense because Leary isn't dead.
Yeah, but Leary isn't dead.
Right.
In fact, I think CC Ryder and the commander and everyone are just watching him from TCB headquarters, and they're like, wow, those shrooms must have worked really well, or something like that.
For sure.
Yeah, so episode 8 was good, and so again, 8 through 10 I think worked out really well. And
any other pros?
That would I think that basically covers all my pros.
All right. Grab into your cons then.
Okay. So, I mentioned that I was probably going to bring up Velma. The problem I found with Velma was something that this show had as well, even though it's a million times better than Velma was.
Scooby-Doo.
No, it's the fact that they have a lot of one-joke storylines that are really, I don't see where the joke is, or they're just overly done. For example, Doyle, he is this person who is basically the commander's assistant, and he's supposed to be really this pansy.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be someone who just takes a lot of emotional and physical abuse, and it's
slapstick.
Like,
yeah.
that's literally just his character for all 10 episodes.
So he's like a punching bag that people make fun of.
Yeah, he doesn't get any type of redeeming quality to him at all.
Oh, he's like Cyril from Archer, where basically they just make fun of him all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and then you also have the commander. So this was like funny at very first when they introduced it. He's trying to go on a date with Birdie, and like I was like, okay, I can see where the comedy is for that. I think it's like it first revealed in the 4th episode, but the show continually goes back to that storyline throughout the whole entire thing. It becomes a main storyline.
So it's just boring.
And I was just like, yeah, why are you deciding to do all of this different stuff? And
keep us focused with the Matthew McConaughey
with the stuff that's actually going on. And not only that, sadly, as I said, Scatter was kind of my favorite character through the first 5 episodes.
Yeah.
But his character just, again, turns into a crazy monkey. That's all it is. That's all his character is. And like by the very end of the season, it got to the point where something that started off so funny just got so annoying after a while, because that was just his whole
What'd
character.
you think of Hit Monkey? Like, because we didn't do that show for the pod, but like you saw the full 10 episodes or whatever it was.
It was all right. I probably would have given it like a 7 out of 10.
But do you think that it went through more of a character arc than Scatter?
Yeah, but I'm not really sure if that's a fair comparison, because Hit Monkey literally is the main character of the show.
I know,
He was meant to.
But I mean more along the lines of like, is Scatter going somewhere?
No,
like,
it doesn't really seem like
it's just he's the sidekick. All right.
Yeah, it's like, again, the most story we get from him, actually, the backstory is the like that he's a cocaine addict. That's about it. And the show takes a while for the plot to actually kick in. Like I said, at the end of the first episode, I think the first episode also is kind of better than the series, which is almost a con for it.
So it's like the last bulk of episodes were your favorite, but the first episode was like
first episode actually, well, no, I wouldn't say it was the best, but it was definitely on the better tier of a lot of episodes. But yeah, it takes a long time for it to actually kick in, because at the end of the first episode, the commander reveals to CC Ryder that, again, the limousine driver was supposed to kill Elvis or try and take out Elvis.
And then they
wait episodes upon episodes to just like until the very end of episode 9, till Elvis even realizes what is going on and realizes that the commander is completely evil.
Yeah, I hate when the shows do that. I usually give them props when they don't. When like the next episode starts right off at that point, and you're just like, whoa, they actually went there, and But
yeah, and even when they reveal in episode 9, and again, I like episode 9 because it actually had something to do with the plot and you learn more. But even when they reveal in episode 9 what the whole entire point of the backflashes was, again, Elvis being drafted into the army and the commander's plan and all of that stuff, it seemed like stuff that was pretty predictable. You could almost get it from the quick flashes that they were showing anyways, and the show was treating it like it was supposed to be this big reveal.
They just like fleshed it out. Yeah, that episode's called Swollen Desire.
I think that also Elvis, what's pretty big in that episode is he decides to quit the TCB afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's leaving the department.
Yeah,
Sure.
in episode 10, you see him on vacation with Priscilla as well.
Before he decides to save everybody and then risk his life and then die and then get a clone to replace him. All right.
The characters remain static also. None of them go through any real character story arc, and all of them
Again,
are
very much Archer-ish, except maybe with Pam and certain characters who have like a season arc that changes them.
Yeah.
I guess Archer too has changed over the 10 seasons or whatever that it went.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Elvis,
but it took a long time. Is what I'm saying.
You would think the main character would change from where he was at the beginning of the episode, but no, he's still the same like sarcastic Elvis that he was in the first episode.
Even though it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
Now he still has 4 more years left before he passes away in real life. But those are like he does gain a bunch of weight and he starts acting a little different. So I wonder if like the next season would be a different type of Elvis.
So he actually gained weight, because I remember I think it was For All Mankind in season 1, it was like Joel Kinnaman's character was talking to a different character, and he said that like
he also had a moon landing episode in For All Mankind.
Yeah, but he was talking about Elvis, and he said that Elvis had gained like a ton of weight, and I wasn't sure if that was just a trait that they added to that show.
You don't know much about Elvis then. Okay, yeah. He died on a toilet.
Yeah. I know that much at least. Also, the episodes are very similar. There's at least 5 episodes where it's always like they're tasked with going on a mission, the crew, again, Scatter, Bobby, Elvis, CC, Ryder, and they go to wherever they have to. Some cataclysmic event is about to happen, and then for some reason, a group of people, whether it's, again, the Charles Manson cult, or it's the film festival goers, or I think in episode 8, it's some army veterans, or rival group assassins.
Repetitive.
Yeah, episode 7, they just decide that they have to kill them all because they're already brainwashed, and yeah, it gets very repetitive after a while.
Sure.
And you've seen one of these episodes, you basically have seen them all.
But you would still recommend that people do watch it if they enjoyed one of the episodes?
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say if you had like some type of interest in it, give it the first 3 episodes. If you like the first 3 episodes, you're probably going to like the rest of the series as well.
Ultimately, what's your verdict?
I would give this show a 6 out of 10. It does pass, but to anyone who also, like on top of my previous statement about anyone who was interested in it, if you saw this and you were like, I think I can pass, yeah, you're probably right. It's nothing special.
It's nothing special. Okay, so some comparisons. Is Archer better?
Yeah, I would say so.
Is Venture Bros better?
Yeah, but Venture Bros I think is a little different with just like how the story has been made. I think Venture Bros is kind of on top of the tier list in terms of cartoon shows. But
is it about as typical as like just a normal Adult Swim show?
Yeah, but
like it would just fit into that.
I would say that actually this show is a little bit. It's not just focused on shock value, which I think a lot of Adult Swim shows are. So I wouldn't actually have a problem saying that.
And the storylines connect.
Yeah, yeah. So I wouldn't have a problem saying that this is maybe a little bit better than some Adult Swim TV series. But if you compare it to something big like Smiling Friends, which I know has like a very dedicated fan base, Smiling Friends is better than this.
So again, like mid-tier.
Yeah, I would say so.
And you've done other series that you've watched for the podcast. Primal, Masters of the Universe. Actually, you only watched 1 episode of Masters.
No, I saw Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, okay. And Harley Quinn. Out of those 3,
I would place Elvis 3rd, Masters of the Universe last, Primal 1st, and then Harley Quinn 2nd.
But animation style, would you feel the same way? Or
animation style, I would maybe even put this. Primal still is number 1, but I would maybe put this at number 2. I do think it actually is a little bit better than Harley Quinn. I think animation is one of the reasons you watch this show, just because of how pleasing to the eye it is.
And you know who Baz Luhrmann is, right? Or Boz Luhrmann? I don't know how to say his name. No, he was the director of the Elvis film that came out, and he actually comes in and voices the director in this series. I thought if you didn't know that.
I was thinking there may be a possibility that Austin Butler could possibly make a cameo, and I was kind of waiting for that, but I wasn't surprised when it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got the director, so that's half of it. It mostly positive reviews. Guardian actually gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh, I should mention also Robert Goulet.
Yes.
He makes an appearance, and he's supposed to actually be kind of in bed with Gabriel, especially in the last episode when they're trying to take out CC Ryder and Elvis, this like M corporation that is trying to brainwash everybody. It's a reveal that, yeah, Robert Goulet is actually evil. I thought I should mention that. I think he's voiced by Ed Helms. Does a good job, but go ahead with the reviews.
No, I found that interesting. I also find it interesting that originally this show wasn't even supposed to be called Agent Elvis. It was Agent King, like the King of Rum.
Yeah. They call him. I think the commander calls him King a couple times in the
Even
episode.
if you look it up now on Google, it still says it as Agent King. So it must have been a late change that they made, maybe when the teaser came out. Collider probably gave it one of the worst reviews, saying that it was devastatingly low on laughs, but it's a colorful binge.
I could see someone saying that this is more entertainment than it is funny. But again, I think that you're watching it somewhat for the action. In episode 9, there's a really cool action scene where Elvis is trying to figure out more about himself, and he's taking out like major figure robots like JFK and stuff like that. So there's creative action in it, and I think that's where the entertainment comes into play.
JFK was a robot after he died?
No, like in the TCB lounge, Elvis is trying to find his file. So so you have just a ton of different notable figures trying to like run after him and take the file back as he's trying to break out with CC Rider.
All right, gotcha. Yes, but for the most part, just positive reviews. And I think that giving it a 6 out of 10 is probably fairly where it's at. It has a 7 out of 10, I think, on IMDb.
I was going to ask on IMDb. Yeah.
But there haven't been too many reviews. But it may get more popular on Netflix. Do you think it will go for another season?
I don't know, but I would hope that it does go for another season because there is potential for the show.
So you would watch it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. Bye.
Bye.